This is part one of a pendant I'm making for an art swap. I'm using some of craftkatch's ideas on how to do sand and resin. If you want more information on craftkatch, look in the down bar below and I'll have her link. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to show you how I'm creating this pendant. You're going to see a picture of it completely finished, I'm sure. But right now I'm in the middle stages, and I thought, when I started this, I thought, why didn't I just start by videotaping it? But I didn't. But this is still cool because this is actually a double-sided pendant. So I have to do the other side, and I'm doing it similar, but instead of having these charms, I'm going to use something else. So in this tutorial, you're going to need your charms if you choose to do that, or pieces of shell, or anything that's going to fit in the side of the bezel lip. You do not have to choose a double-sided. I just happened to accidentally pick this one up. I was just wanting a one-sided. But when I found out I did it, I was at Walmart doing some grocery shopping, and they have beading sections, and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to go see what kind of charms they have that I could do it on the back. And I found this stuff, and I think it was around $4, I think, and they come with 5 different ones. I've only used 3 in this one, and instead of doing charms on the back, I'm doing something different. Another thing you're going to need is Mod Podge, or some type of glue. This one's the Super Gloss Brilliant, which is what I wanted. They have matte, that could be a good look, and they also have this Gloss Luster. This one is supposed to not be cloudy. This one comes a little bit cloudier. And this one does not say it's water based. So this one says it's a water based sealer. This one right here is water resistant, which that's good to know. And then you can also use your glue, any type of glue that you want to, that dries clear is what you want to use. Doesn't really matter, just the finish. I wanted a super gloss. I did not want any kind of cloudiness. I mean, the sand in here is already kind of grainy and stuff. I just didn't want to add to that. So that comes up to the next thing. I have Fort Myers Beach sand. So that's what I'm going to put in this. And now I'm going to cover this with resin. If you do decide to get a charm, and this one doesn't fit, that's why I decided to do something else. It's like a 3D one. It doesn't lay flat. So, but if you had one that laid flat or did sit in this really well, you would need to have some type of pliers. This is chainmail right here. And just take it. I'm not going to do this because I'm actually going to use this as what it's for. But you just take it and break it off. And then you can take a file to file it down. If it doesn't poke out of the resin, that filing is not really necessary. But you'll also need some popsicle sticks. I couldn't think of it. And something to mix in. I'm just using this medicine thing. I got 50 of these off of Amazon. And this is optional, but I'm going to use glitter because when you use sand, it darkens up when you put anything wet to it. So I'm using this iridescent, this crystal diamond. This is what I got from Walmart. I'm using a fine one. You can use more chunky one. You can mix chunky and fine. I got this because I thought I wanted to do that. But the way I'm going to use this now is more of a grout type thing, because I'm going to, on this other side, instead of charms, I'm going to put shells, pieces of broke shells that I got at the dollar store. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Just get whatever you want to put in there. I would suggest something that will fit inside the not too far up. Unless it doesn't really matter. Some of them do. This one right here is a fish, and I didn't think it would look appropriate if it was sticking up out of the pendant, because a fish would be inside the water. I was planning on turning the water a little bit blue and having it inside, but it's just too big. Whatever you decide to put in there, just grab all your materials and come back and we'll start this show. Store, these come in a bag and they're in the floral department where you can make different things. So that's what I picked up, and I've got it here inside my bezel, and that's kind of what the look I'm going for. But keep in mind there's going to be sand in there too, so I'm going to set my container aside, and first things first, we're going to have to mix our sand. So I'm going to take my little cup. Do not shake your glue if it's Mod Podge. It says right on there not to. I'm going to take a whole glob and I'm going to just put it in there. And you don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to start off with this. I'm going to put this back in the container because I don't want to mix things. I don't want to mix the sand one into it. So then I'm going to take and pour in just a little bit of sand. We just need a little bit, because remember, we're going to fill some of it up with glitter as well, so we're going to see how that goes. And remember, you can add more sand, you can add more glue. I think I need more glue, more sand than that. And probably more glue. That's probably more than I needed. And I do see there is a little piece of something in here. Okay. I don't mind the black specks, but I don't want anything that's really big in there. I think that's good. I think I got, but I don't know if you can tell now that it's a little bit darker than what's in here, and I don't like that. I don't want that look, and I don't think it dries lighter. So you can try it, who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want this look to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my glitter, oops, oh, I can't open it, and I'm just going to use the big one and sprinkle some glitter in. Quite a bit. And it may not still be as light as the original look, but it's probably quite a bit lighter now. Pretty good. You can add more. I want to make sure that this is enough to stick the shells into. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a smidgen more of this glue, because I want to make sure the glue is able to hold on to the shells. I mean, it's really not going to matter because I'm going to put resin over the top of it, but just for added insurance, it was kind of more doughy than pasty. So, there goes my, but I think I'm done. It doesn't take a whole lot. This is probably going to be way, way, way more than I need, but better to have not enough than not enough. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I'm going to take my bezel and I'm just going to smear it in. And what we're looking for, like I said, is a pasty kind of consistency. Something along the lines of grout. This is a little looser than that, but I think it'll work fine because we're not going to be walking on it. It's going to have resin over the top of it. So, and then you're just going to push it to the sides. Scrape it off. Push it to the sides. And looks like it's going to overflow, but I think this is going to be really nice. If you think that you've got it too thin and you kind of don't want to mix any more sand or anything to it, you could just let it sit up a little bit. It'll work fine. You do want a kind of thick layer, so I'm trying to get it as even as possible. Also, you can take some of your toothpicks. I got a little container with my toothpicks in it. It's a shot glass. And you can kind of orientate it. After we get this done and it's dried, I'm going to push it off the sides because I don't want the sand to be touching the sides. I want the resin to meet up with some of the metals in some places, and so in all around the rim. That way it gives it some tooth, because I don't want this stuff to fall out. And if you got some of it on the side, don't worry about it. We'll clean it up. I'll be right back. Okay, and by the way, I'm working on some parchment paper. Just don't work on your desk. Work on something that's disposable. That way, if you do have a big mess, you can just ball it up. Like you see here, I dropped my thing on the floor. But by the way, this is a shot glass I got from a store here in Florida in Marco Island. They didn't have very many good ones, and this was already coming off, but I just loved this one, so that's what I put my toothpicks in. So if you were wondering. Alright, next thing is, and I don't have any rhyme or reason, but I am going to try to pick these up carefully and place them in there because I don't want them to get covered in the resin. Now, I have not let this set any length of time because I'm just going to sit it off to the side and let it, well, I guess that's going there. It's not where I was going to place it, but oh well. Yep, so I'm going to finish this off camera because it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing through the but you get the idea. You just press it in there. You want to make sure that it comes up like grout. It does not have to be even unless you really want it to be even, but I'm going for more for like a beachy sand kind of thing. But with kind of like mosaics in there. Look through your pieces if you're doing something like mine and see if you can't find some some thin pieces that you can get like down in here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill it up until I feel that it's good. Try not to get the sand over it unless that's what you're looking for. But then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. And I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to clean up these edges and do stuff to make the resin be able to have metal to stick to. We'll be back. Alright, so here it is, my finished section. I still have to clean it up. I just finished putting the last piece in, so it still's got to dry. So next step is to push down all around here to make sure that there's a little bit at least metal. If you wanted to, you could take more of that sand and rub it over the top and make sure that you get all the crevices in. I just wanted this type of look, something very, you know, don't want to say natural, but you know, just something that's not so uniformed and cookie cutter. Excuse me. I also wanted to comment on this stuff. This right here is it's decorative sand that you can get also at the dollar store. The Dollar Tree is where I got it. You might be able to get it at dollar store, Family Dollars, any type of place that has some kind of floral stuff. You can use this instead, and then of course you don't have to add glitter to it. You could, if you wanted to. This would still work with it if you wanted this. Whatever you want to use as far as the background sand. They've got play sand you can get at the store. Of course, it would be a huge thing. I would still check with your floral department because you can get some of this in there, and I think it'd be just as good. This tends to let water pool on it, so this in itself is not very, I don't know how this stuff would work because, like I said, I put water on it. It didn't really mix well. It just sat on top. So, but you can try it out and see if it does. It's worth a try. And I think it would look stunning as the background. But since I'm planning on writing Fort Myers, now this is still good because it's a pasty thing, so I don't think it's going to come out, but you might want to leave yours alone for a while. I'm just going to show you something real quick. I'm going to write Fort Myers Beach on this side. I thought that would be cool. And then of course you could have actually went and got shells and broke them apart and put them in here or whatever, but I do have some shells from different places, so I could have done that too, but I had this from some planting things I wanted to do and bought too much, so I was like, this is a perfect time to use that, and I think it's going to look good. And remember, this might be a little bit flush to the rim here, but I'm going to put resin over this, so it's going to be, even if there's a thin coat, it's going to be good. I'll probably try to dome it a little bit. So, but I just thought this was going to be incredibly cute. So, that is going to be part of my art swap. I'll show you some pictures of some other stuff that I'm going to be sending her in this video, probably at the end. But for one of my first tutorials, I thought this would be cool. And again, I don't know if I'm going to be filming this resin part as well. I don't like that big chunk there. Let me, oops, grab that out. You can see I made a big old hole right there. That's not hard to fix. I'll fix that, but there you go. When it gets a little more tacky, I'll be able to scrape down the sides better and clean it up and get it ready for its resin. This would be my first time doing resin, so I'm not sure that I will be able to show you accurately what I'm doing. I'm just going to do my first try by myself, but I wanted to show you how I prepared this for resin. And also you could have put more shells on this side too. That would have been looking cute, but I want to write in there, so we'll see. I will link craftkatch. She does a lot of resins stuff, and she will go through the basics on how to do everything. I think she does have basic one in there, so I'm just going to give this a once over and see if I got I want to make sure that there's sand back in there, and I'll show you what this looks like at the end when it's got the resin completely done, and let you see the finished result. I'm going to lay it down now, stop fiddling with it, and let it dry. So I'll see you in my next video.
I've decided to make this into a two-parter video. So here, as promised, is some pictures of a polymer clay piece I made for my friend as part of the art swap we're doing. And hopefully I'll have some other pictures at the end of the other one. Maybe I'll even do a separate video. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, see you in my next video.